This is Talk Business and Politics with Roby Brock.
Welcome to today's edition of Talk Business and Politics. I'm Michael Tilley, still in for Roby Brock. Let's take a look at our top stories of the day. Concealed carry permit holders with 8 additional hours of training will be able to carry a weapon on college campuses. That vote was held Wednesday by the Arkansas House. The vote was on House Bill 1249, which was carried by Representative Charlie Collins, a Republican from Fayetteville. The bill has already passed the Senate, and Governor Asa Hutchinson has said he would sign the bill. An improved labor market, a rise in household spending, and a desire to keep inflation around 2% pushed the Federal Reserve on Wednesday to raise the federal funds rate range by 0.25%. Wednesday's rate hike was the third since the financial crisis of 2008. The top end of the rate range will now move from 0.75% to 1%. U.S. Representative Steve Womack, a Republican of Rogers, says he is whipping votes for Speaker Paul Ryan's health care reform proposal and hopes to see it move to the House floor as early as tomorrow. Womack said that while he is seeking support for the plan, he does say it's not perfect. One area he would like to see addressed is that Ryan's bill gives too much of a break to top earners and not enough of a tax break to those on the lower end of the income scale. And those are your top stories for the day. You can keep up with these stories and much more at our website at talkbusiness.net. A short word from our sponsors, and we're back with what one D.C. reporter thinks about Arkansas and the federal health care mix. Stick around.
Arkansas Electric Cooperative Corporation provides electric energy across 2/3 of Arkansas. This is an exciting time in our energy history, with incredible progress being made in renewable energy and storage technologies. As our energy portfolio continues to diversify, we'll maintain an all-the-above strategy to provide reliable and affordable electricity. Ever since the first light bulbs were placed in our members' homes, the electric cooperatives have been the solutions provider for our members, and we want to continue that well into the future.
Each day, the promise of our nation begins again. Arkansas and America, moving forward. I help make that promise a reality. It's not for everyone, but people everywhere depend on us.
Oh, I love you too, sweetie.
Trucking delivers, or everything stops. And that's what drives me.
I did.
On Sunday's edition of Talk Business and Politics, host Roby Brock interviewed political reporter Rashana Pradhan. Now, she's covering the health care debate in Washington and offered this insight on Arkansas Governor Asa Hutchinson's chances at getting some key Medicaid waivers.
You've been around some state governors such as ours, Governor Asa Hutchinson. Obviously, Medicaid expansion, one of the biggest items of interest to the governors. What did you gauge are some of their other major concerns for the governors as it relates to this health care reform?
Well, so I think for, Governor Hutchinson has made it pretty clear what his position is. Arkansas, of course, has covered, around 300,000 people through the expansion of Medicaid. And they are getting a lot of federal money to do that. And so if you take that away, that's going to have a very real impact on not just the number of people who might stay covered, but also on the state budget, on your state's hospitals. I mean, this could be very, very far-reaching. And I should add, actually, that the other thing about this House Republican bill, it doesn't only try to phase out the Medicaid expansion. There are some very large reforms. It's basically entitlement reform that Republicans want to make to Medicaid. And so these changes could, really be far-reaching and affect the entire program, which obviously, of course, does not, it extends well beyond the people who got covered under Obamacare. We're talking children and pregnant women and the elderly. And so, it's quite significant what House Republicans are trying to do. So I think there's a pretty real concern among governors about what happens if this federal money all goes away. And of course, Governor Hutchinson has said he's advocated for keeping that funding, but he does want to make other changes to Arkansas's Medicaid program, I think, that would maybe help to contain the number of people that are on it, and also kind of institute some other reforms so that you don't have kind of an unexpected surge in people who are getting, government-funded health insurance.
And last question, Governor Hutchinson has made a request for waivers to the Health and Human Services Secretary Tom Price. He wants a work component. He wants to do something different with those in that kind of that 100% to 138% range of the federal poverty level. What do you make of the governor's request and his chances?
So I think the governor, the ideas that he put forth this past week are ones that would get a lot of support and do have a lot of support among other Republican governors around the country. There is, I think, a willingness among Republican state leaders to move Medicaid expansion eligibility so that it's at the poverty line and not at 138% of poverty as it is right now. A work requirement has also come up in a lot of other states because I think that Republicans feel that people who aren't disabled and people who aren't elderly, I mean, they should have some sort of employment requirement in order to get this type of public assistance. So I think his, the changes that he's seeking, he's going to get, frankly, probably a pretty good reception among federal officials in Washington because I think philosophically, they are in alignment on a lot of these things. And so I would not be surprised at all if Governor Hutchinson gets a lot of the changes, if not all of the ones that he wants.
That's Politico's Rashana Pradhan. You can catch her full interview with much more insight on the national health care debate at our website at talkbusiness.net. And that's all for today's program. Thanks for tuning in. We'll see you tomorrow.